And we are live.
Hello.
Alright, so we wait a few moments, see people joining in.
Tea time. Oh, there we go. 2 people.
Which one was yours?
Doesn't matter.
Okay. Hello everyone, and those 2 fabulous people that just joined us. Let's wait a few moments and allow a little bit of time for people to join in. Meanwhile, cheers. Tea
Cheers.
time.
Cheers.
Oh, hello. Okay. I know how that happened.
5. More.
They're so tiny. Greetings, everyone. Sawadee-kap. Hello from Thailand. Sebastian Bruno, for those of you that don't know me. And with me here today, I have the fabulous Simone.
Yes.
So Simone is a friend and a fabulous, inspiring yoga practitioner and teacher. And would you like to tell us just a little bit about you and some of the amazing things you do?
Sure. So I've been running a yoga school probably for the last, 12, 15 years, called School of Sacred Arts, and primarily focusing on 200-hour teacher trainings. But for the last couple of years, I've now really branched into my own programming, which I call Soma Journeys. And so, we focus more on weaving together yoga practices, shamanic practices, yoga nidra, so really going into more the meditation spaces, which we're going to talk a little bit about today, of just how to drop in.
Right. So for those of you that join us on our live, on our hashtag Throwback ThaiVedic that happens now every Thursday. Last week we had Kimana Nichols here and we talked about ThaiVedic and the cycles of time and understanding the situation that we're all facing right now in the world, and to notice that there's a natural invitation from nature, from life, from the universe to draw inwards. This is not the time to go out. This is the time to go in. And in the conversation that we had with Kimana last week, he touched on the perspective of Vedic astrology, of looking at what's happening in the world right now, and this cycle of Rahu as an ecliptical point that suggests exactly that invitation of going inwards. So just tuning into the natural cycles of life, cycles of time. And he also mentioned as a small, simple practice that we could do on a daily basis, following the cycles of the day. He suggested that in the afternoon, in what we call the Vata stage of the day, from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., to have a little moment where you do a gentle check-in, where you check your level of energy, where you do a little pause, whatever it is that you're doing, you take a moment to pause, to check in, to listen, to recharge. Either is laying in the hammock for a moment or doing a little Shavasana or Yoga Nidra. And for those of you that don't know what a Shavasana is, this is going to be very much the topic of our conversation today. So Simone, would you like to tell us what is Shavasana? What does that mean?
Well, essentially it's a posture, the corpse pose, right? So it's reflective of basically a position of the body that is just all about surrender and letting go and opening and becoming receptive, right? So we do it from a lying down position with arms and legs open and just going into a non-doing state, essentially. So it's shifting us from this doing state into non-doing and just being.
So generally, that's the last posture that someone experiences. If someone goes to a yoga class, that's generally the last posture experienced in the yoga class, in the yoga practice. Why is that?
Yeah, well, I mean, when we were touching in earlier, we kind of talked a little bit about like when is the best time to do it, like at the end of the yoga practice or the beginning, and really I think it depends on what your intention is, right? And we talked a bit about like within the body work versus a yoga class or a yoga practice. But yeah, essentially we want to drop into moving from that doing state into being state. So that the tendency there would be at the end of a yoga practice, right? Is to really just use that time to become still and to integrate what you've been doing in the practice of doing, right? With all the other asana leading up to it.
And even though it seems to be a very, very simple, very easy posture to do, it seems that you just lay down and do nothing. It's very often referred to as one of the most difficult asanas to master.
Yes, exactly.
Why is that?
Well, again, it's just we're lying back. We're not contorting our bodies into any particular position. So from that perspective, it's a very simple shape, right? Like it's just something that we naturally go into when we're resting. But what makes it challenging is to not just fall asleep or start to think about other things or, get distracted or completely ignore it because you think it's not important. So that's what's meant by it's difficult to master, is actually just spending the time to really allow for the benefits of that particular practice and bring the intention of really letting go into it, and that's what makes it difficult. And I think especially in our modern day living, where we value so much about doing and everything is always about like productivity, we don't value what it means to just be still.
Slow down.
And this ties back into what you were talking about before and with your interview last week, right? Is really honoring these cycles where, there's so much value in the doing and the dynamic kind of, what we do with high energy output. But you can only really ever have high energy output when you have the counterbalance of rest and rejuvenation.
And so one of the things that we're witnessing right now during these challenging times is that perhaps is one of the most fundamental challenges. Of course, it's difficult not knowing what's going to happen, not knowing when we can travel, when we can go visit family members. But as far as life is concerned, nothing much has changed in that regard. Life remains as unpredictable as ever.
Yeah.
No one ever really knows what's going to happen tomorrow. But this uncertainty has become so evident.
Yes, exactly.
And this resistance towards resting in this not knowing, the resting in the restlessness, or as the Buddhists say, to be grounded in the groundlessness. This is actually a very challenging and yet a very important practice.
Absolutely.
And something as apparently simple as just laying down in a corpse pose in Shavasana offers the opportunity for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
I had a very interesting yoga teacher, Peter Clifford, that used to say that the magic of yoga lies on the things that you cannot see. And if we look at yoga, the way that is portrayed these days, if you look at Instagram and how yoga is viewed, it's very acrobatic, it's very extroverted, it's very much about this doing, performing, achieving.
And the bendier you are, the more attention you get, right?
As one of my other teachers would say, that doesn't qualify someone as a yogi practitioner.
Right.
Perhaps as a asana practitioner.
Exactly.
And even calling it that is quite a stretch.
Right.
Pun intended.
Yeah.
So, dropping in, to drop into that space of deep listening.
And I think that's the key, is really it's that deep listening. It's like you're completely letting go of, the thinking mind, the whatever led you to that moment, whatever is going to follow this moment. It's really about practicing that dropping in. And as you were saying too, like this turning inward, right? So we have the outgoing and then we have the ingoing, and it's an opportunity for us to turn inward and to really deeply listen to what's happening on all layers of our being.
I'd love at this point to invite, if there's any questions, anything that you guys would like to pose, please go ahead and do so, and whenever we notice it, we'll do our best to address it. Meanwhile,
and you all can hear us okay? Maybe
should have asked that in the beginning.
Thumbs up, or what does it look like we're just mumbling here?
Sound okay?
Oh well. Okay. Great.
Nas bocas do mundo, thank you. All right. So, like Simone was mentioning, Shavasana, very often if you go to yoga class, is something that you experience at the end of a class as a form of integration, allowing the body to now, after all this stimulus created through breathing and bandhas and mudras and drishtis and so on and so forth, to allow the body to just start to digest and integrate all that stimulus.
Exactly.
Right? But you could also start the practice with a Shavasana, setting up the tempo, the nervous system to be into that deeply receptive mode, and then allow your practice to emerge from that.
Exactly.
And in the perspective of body work, that's very much the approach that we take. We have Shavasana taking place in the beginning, pretty much during, and we end with Shavasana. So we start with Shavasana, we progress through Shavasana, and we end up in Shavasana. And it's our way of, it's our gateway into the nervous system, our way of suggesting, inviting the nervous system to just drop in, relax, surrender, let go.
Yeah.
All things that sound wonderful and yet how challenging.
Yeah,
how
exactly.
difficult.
And I think again, tying it back into the times that we're in, where there's so much stress and anxiety about the unknowns, right, is the value of this practice of just being able to start with something slow and quiet and checking in, so that you're inviting the inner guidance to really to come from within, rather than an imposed kind of like, this is what you need, and that usually comes from the mind, right?
Right.
And when we turn around and actually allow for that inner guidance to come, then it comes from a much deeper place and a much deeper wisdom, I think.
And as a resting point as well, knowing that wherever you go, there you are, your body is with you, and that body can be that temple, that place where you seek your refuge, where you can just lay down and connect with your breath, feel the gravity, feel the support from the earth, and just sink, relax, and learn how to rest in that stillness that you always carry.
Yeah, totally.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
So, on that note, Shavasana applied in relation to body work. So from a ThaiVedic perspective, this is how we generally start a session, how we communicate at a non-verbal level, using our touch, using our movement, using our intention. How do we communicate with the nervous system? How we create this invitation for the nervous system to just relax, to drop in, to relax, to let go. So we're going to do a little demo. So for those of you back home, the invitation is find a nice, comfortable sitting position. Tune in to what's happening here through this little magic modern window, and tuning in with your body and feeling into your body, and be open, receptive and perceptive to what your body is picking up in terms of the data that is being transmitted through this channel of communication.
It's one of the beautiful things to actually be able to do this together, and the invitation of sharing this with you all is how all of our nervous systems can come into co-regulation together. So, you know, you might not be in our physical space, but you can benefit just from like dropping into feeling sort of what space we're dropping into. And so right there, our nervous systems are all kind of co-regulating together. And when we come into that kind of co-regulation, when our nervous systems really drop into that deep relaxation, so much benefit and rejuvenation can occur, right? So, and that's one of the beautiful benefits of Shavasana is just that it opens up so much healing capacity, innate healing capacity of the body.
Great.
Yeah.
So, a quick readjustment of our setting. Simone, if you please lay down. Gently wiggling your fingers, your toes. Taking a long, deep breath in. Open your mouth wide. Letting all the air out. Slowly, gently, whenever you're ready, roll to the side and join me whenever you're ready back into sitting position. Hey, back.
Refreshed.
How are you feeling?
Yes. Feeling good. It's been interesting that we do this on today because I've actually not been feeling that well, and I've been finding myself lying in Shavasana a lot throughout the day, and now just coming into a deeper invitation to really drop in and relax really has been helping my immune system, boost my immune system. So I can just feel like the benefits of the practice itself, really helping to like support my body. So that's
Can you
been
tell us
nice.
some qualities that you feel present in your body right now?
I feel settled. I feel like my mind isn't as busy or wandering off in distracted, areas. I feel quite centered. Centered, relaxed, settled.
So I'm not sure how long that took, but I'm sure it was less than 10 minutes. So just a reminder that do not underestimate the power of a few moments of conscious rest, should we call it?
Definitely,
Such, eh?
yes.
And on my end, today's been a really busy day, running around quite a bit, preparing for this live. And as we sat down to start this live, I felt quite restless. I felt a little bit vata deranged, and I'm all over the place. And after these few minutes of just going through a few movements with you, I feel more settled, I feel more grounded, I feel more rested. And this is a beautiful reminder of what ThaiVedic really represents to me. It's first and foremost a form of healing practice. First and foremost, a form of self-healing.
Yeah.
Because the way I see it, this being a form of communication, a non-verbal communication, as a practitioner, we need to embody the qualities that we want to convey with our touch and with our movement. And by having that commitment myself to just right now embodying qualities of earth, slowing down, using gravity, effortless, be still, be slow, be steady, that has such a positive impact on me as a practitioner.
Right.
And as far as healing goes, I believe that any healing that takes place on this mat needs to take place for both of us.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think the key in talking about healing is healing can only happen when we're rested and settled and feel safe, and for everything to just drop in. Then the real benefits come on all levels: our physical level, our physiology. Healing can happen within the body, and tissue can regenerate, but on all other levels too. Our mental busyness, like you were just saying, that kind of that you may have been in earlier, all of that gets to settle down, and our breath gets to settle down, and so this has a ripple effect through our whole being, starting like at the physical level, through the energetic, through the mental, emotional, right through to our intuitive and really right down to our subtlest essence, right?
And how that ripples then outside as you walk out the
exactly.
door and into your daily missions and the people you interact, and that keeps on rippling its effects throughout the interactions you have throughout the day.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
All right, let me see if we have any questions.
What are the benefits? I
hold
just spotted.
Nas bocas do mundo, I would like to know what are the benefits of Shavasana for our health.
So we just touched on a couple of those.
Mhm.
Are there any others that you're thinking of?
Shifting the nervous system from sympathetic to parasympathetic,
Yeah.
getting away from the fight or flight into the rest and digest. And just like Simone said, that's where healing takes place. That's where the body naturally engages in its self-repair, restorative mode. It's in the rest and digest. So generalizing the effects quite a bit, Shavasana invites the nervous system to drop into that rest and digest, which is the doorway for all forms of
Absolutely.
repair, restore, recharge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So to just build on keeping this connective thread throughout our lives, last week Kimana suggested a little practice in the afternoon where you take the time to slow down and check in. So today we went a little bit further with that invitation and actually gave you a more specific practice. There's a name for that practice. It's called Shavasana. So something that you can do on your own. Finding a nice quiet spot where you can drop your body, feel the gravity, feel the points of contact with the floor, connect with your breath, empty your mind, allow.
Yeah.
Want to take it a step further, extend that to another, perhaps someone that is at home with you, family member, loved one, and invite them to do the same. Lay down and now you bring your hands, your intentional touch, cultivate the qualities that you wanna share with your partner. So slow down, connect with your breath, bring the soft, gentle, grounding qualities into your movement, into your touch, and share that with your partner.
Recommended length of a yoga
What's
sequence?
the recommended length after yoga sequence?
So one of the tendencies is often for people to overlook, they've done a yoga practice and it's like, oh, Shavasana, we'll jump over that one and walk out the door. You see that sometimes in yoga studios. People are packing up their stuff and, before coming to Shavasana. So it's super important to always carve out a little bit of time for Shavasana, no matter how long your yoga practice is. So if you've got like a 10-minute yoga practice, be sure to spend 1 or 2 minutes at least just really allowing your practice to integrate. If you've done a longer practice, like, a 90-minute, 60-minute, 90-minute yoga practice, at least 10, 15 minutes, if at all possible. And the most beautiful way to do it, if you're not like timing anything, is when you go into Shavasana, is to allow your body to naturally go into its settled rest, and it will naturally pop back out whenever you have completed the process of integration. And that is a beautiful way to practice, where you just naturally feel like, oh, okay, I'm back.
Well, I'd share with you how I measure that. My Shavasana is officially finished when I wake myself up with my own snoring. That's when I know it's done.
That's if you fall asleep. Yes.
It's not sleep, it's deep meditation.
Yes, okay.
And the snoring is a form of ancient mantra.
Yeah.
At least that's how I see it. Barbara, I hope that answers. So again, invitation, slow down, go in. Yeah, that's what this cycle is inviting us to do.
Yeah.
Shavasana, drop in, relax, surrender, let go. if can, why not extend that courtesy to another and help them and guide them in that process with loving, gentle, attentive touch. You want to dive deeper into these practices? There's online content available on your channels, Yoga Nidra, you have some mentorship
Yes.
programs.
So if you go to my website, which is Soma with an H, SOMAH, Soma Journeys.net, you'll find a whole page with free audio meditations in Yoga Nidra. One of my passions is Yoga Nidra is a form of meditation that is most commonly practiced from Shavasana. And it's one of a very unique meditation approach that actually works with our levels of consciousness that take us into sleep, or just kind of the little window between waking and sleeping. And there's some free content on there with the Yoga Nidras, and I'm also going to be launching a 6-week online mentoring course, which is just essentially helping an integration process of just like what are these practices, and it's a combination of mindfulness practices, yoga, breath work, Yoga Nidra, and live sessions, and we work with different layers of our being, so essentially the koshas, as a means of integrating, whether you've done a yoga training or a retreat or plant medicine work, or you just want to take your own practice a little bit deeper, you need help and support in these times when things are rather chaotic.
Know that the support is here.
It is. It's here.
Great. So if you didn't catch the website, just drop us a line as a message, and I'll make sure that I send you those links. You want to learn more about body work, you want to have this particular intro to Shavasana available for you, you can check the link on the bio, and that takes you directly to the ThaiVedic online course. Thank you very much for being here with us. Thank you very much for being here with me. Thank you so much, guys. To be continued, if not before. See you next Thursday.
Bye. Excellent.